Howdy y'all, Caleb here. We're going to talk a little bit about a GHB predictions. So coming up this next week, we'll be able to pre-order the General's Handbook 2020. So what does that have in store for us for Seraphon, if anything? They've previewed it, and you can see here on the screen, it's your standard, Warlord edition here pictured, but we've got our General Handbook and our pitch battle profiles. So I don't think, based on the contents that we've seen so far, that we're going to have much in the way of the GHB for Seraphon. So we see here, we have a table of contents for the actual GHB, and there's nothing really in there for allegiance abilities, any of that kind of stuff, because that's all been taken care of in the battle tomes for each faction now. So we're getting some new battle plans, it looks like. There's one called the Blade's Edge, and one called Forcing the Hand. Sounds pretty cool. We'll see how they play out. We've also got some open play stuff and some team battle tournament stuff, which will be pretty cool. I like the team battle. I'm excited to see how that plays out in their rules there. But there's not a whole lot in here that I think is going to affect Seraphon. They may have some different rules for match play. We'll see how all that pans out. We should hopefully get some new previews the rest of this week. If not, we'll know next weekend. So I want to do 5 predictions I have for what we may see for Seraphon. I think most of it's going to come in the pitch battle profiles. I'm hoping that we might get a little bit of FAQ to fix a couple things that we need fixed. So with that in mind, let's go and get started. My number 5 prediction, Realmshaper Engine. Please, this would have to be fixed in FAQ. Can we please place this after sides are chosen? If you've played with your Realmshaper engine yet, you know it's a tense gamble rolling off for sides, because whoever gets the Realmshaper engine gets a little added garrison bonus. So it always feels bad when you give a nice garrisonable piece of terrain to your opponent. So please, placed after sides are chosen. This may be kind of hard because it does require 6 inches from terrain, objectives, and the side of the board. So it'll be difficult to place, but I'll take that difficult to place if I know I can have it on my side. So number 4, Cold-Blooded. Here is the Coalesced. One of the Coalesced buffs they get, the allegiance abilities, is you ignore modifiers, positive or negative, to the bravery characteristics of Coalesced units. Can we please make that only ignore negative modifiers? Because it's quite frustrating when you take some skinks in Coalesced and you have 40 skinks, but they have a bravery of 5 because they don't get their positive bravery modifier. So that would be my only other FAQ fix that I want to see. Hopefully we'll see both of those pop up in the FAQ. We'll check back in on this video after it all comes out and see what happens. Some points adjustments in pitch battle profiles. I'm predicting that we'll see some bound endless spell increases. I think some of the more powerful ones you may see increased by an extra maybe 10 points. We know GW likes to increase stuff by 10 points, sometimes 20 points if they're getting a little crazy. So I think some of the more powerful ones for us are going to get probably a 10-point increase. Bound Geminids, Bound Purple Sun. Those are 2 of the big outliers, I think, as they're quite powerful in our army. There's also a rumor that there's a limit of 3 endless spells in a list in a 2,000-point army. So if that happens, maybe they won't increase the bound endless spell cost for us because we'll be limited to 3 endless spells and we can't just pop and spam a ton of bound endless spells. So maybe that's the fix they'll go instead of increasing our points. But I think we'll see a point increase on a few of them. Maybe a points decrease on some, like a bound Balewind Vortex. What's the point of that? Why nobody has ever paid an extra 10 points for a bound Balewind Vortex? All right, so another points increase, I think. Number 2, probably no surprise to anyone, Salamanders. I predict the Salamanders will go up in about 20 points to 100 for 1. That seems about right, but I think the biggest change they'll see is getting artillery keyword added to it. So you don't see something like this where a list is just spamming MSU units of Salamanders. So I think if they add the keyword artillery to it, we may not even have to see a points increase for him. If they're artillery keyworded, you're only going to have a max of 4 units of them. And if you're taking 4 units of Salamanders, especially in Coalesce, you might have some issues with bravery there. But you're spending a lot of points there, and it's only 4 units, and you're not doing this shenanigans of spamming them. So I'm betting we'll see the artillery keyword added in the pitch battle profile, and possibly points increased. And my number 1 prediction for GHB for Seraphon, Lord Kroak. I think he's going to go up in points. We've seen lots of howling on the internet that he is overpowered, and some crazy calls for up to 700 point Lord Kroak, which I think is far too much. I think we may see a hefty increase, which would be a 40 point increase. That's a pretty big increase for something they just released, a few months ago. There hasn't been a whole lot of time in tournaments to see how he really plays out, so I don't see him getting a massive point increase. I think if they do increase it higher, they might drop some of the points for some of his supporting cast, like the banner or the guard. Because as it is, if you're taking Kroak and you're really trying to maximize him, you're going to spend 600 points, as you're shown here, on just his support characters. And very likely you're going to spend 700 points because you're going to need another unit of guard. And that gets him up to a level that's closer to a 600 or 700 point caster, like Nagash or somebody, once you've invested all these points into him. So I don't think he's that undercosted right now, but I do think you'll see a little bit of increase. Maybe if they want to increase him to appease the masses, give him a hefty increase to 400, so he still stays ally for Stormcast. But then drop banner and guard, and so all of us Seraphon players actually know that it stayed the same. All right, I think the for sure ones are probably Kroak and Salamanders. Let's see what happens with everything else. What are y'all's predictions? Let me know in the comments. What's going to change in GHB? We're going to know here in a few days. So let's go. All right. Y'all have a good one.